Hey everyone, got the whole gang here. Dan Scoff, Zach Gilday, Peyton Langford in the back, and Josh Weisel, our weather intern. And so someone asked if Bobby Petrino left for Alabama yet. Now that Saban's retiring. Yeah. No, I think we got him 1 year.
Hey, rumors are Jimbo Fisher.
All right. So let's talk about the weather. We could go off on a tangent, but first of all, we do have a 9:00 show coming up. I know you got a lot of weather questions. Let's first of all dive into the potential weather impact. So Rugger is obviously probably trying to get some sleep. He's probably not doing that yet, but he's about to. So severe storms possible Thursday night into early Friday morning. This is something that's been added by the Storm Prediction Center this morning. Wind, hail, and a tornado or two possible. Now, when we say a tornado or two possible, it's what we call a non-zero tornado threat. It is interesting how instability is increasing and everything's starting to look a little more severe. Tornado potential. What do you guys think?
Non-zero.
It's non-zero.
Personally, I think it's going to be a little more
to the southeast.
Little Rock.
Yeah.
Just south of there.
I think Arkansas is under the threat for tornadoes. Yeah. I think it's going to either be just developing or just moving out for our area, especially in the River Valley. We're talking about LaFleur County, Scott County, Logan County.
I think it's a very small window, too.
It is a small window, but we've got to keep our guard up because Aaron said that Springdale tornado was a non-zero day as well. I know, and that's why you can't discount them completely. So back to our potential weather impact. So we've got the severe storms, and we'll go through that. Then we have this wraparound snow coming through. Now, wraparound, as you saw on Tuesday, sometimes doesn't pan out exactly like the models show, and sometimes it's a lot less because the dry air filters in. It starts to evaporate a lot of the snow, sublimate it. We'll see how this storm system evolves. I think snow accumulations will be similar. We're talking around a half inch to maybe as much as an inch, possibly over an inch if that wraparound builds up a little bit more, but similar snow totals. The problem is that we've got a big temperature drop that's going to be taking place. Roads could develop some slick spots, and because of the temperature drop that happens so fast, that could lead to a flash freeze. And then beyond this next system, which is Thursday into Friday morning, we've got Arctic air plunging in over the weekend. I do think the biggest weather story is going to be Sunday into Monday. The problem is that we're so far out, there's a lot of uncertainty.
Oh, yeah.
But the potential's on the table for a significant winter weather event. I think so. The models have been showing everything. And so, yeah.
The big difference here with this Sunday, Monday event is that the cold air will be there.
Yeah.
The past couple events and this event tomorrow, or this event Friday for the snow, the cold air is not there.
No.
But it's going to be.
Oh, major cold air, too.
Sure.
And not only cold air that's in place, but cold air that will cause a dry, fluffy snow that piles up really fast. And so we're talking about accumulations that could be pretty substantial.
And that could be on the roadways and cause some.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Now, at first, it'll blow off a little bit, but as people drive over it, you're going to have just, it's going to be interesting. So let's take a look here at what we've got. This is just a wild weather pattern for sure. So all of those impacts happening. On top of that, dangerous wind chills. We didn't have that because I can't have a big enough graphic to show all the potential impacts. Temperatures below freezing for several days. No school on Monday because of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I know, that's great. There might not be school if we get that snow for Tuesday too, but we'll see how this all pans out. As you know, snow accumulations can vary. They can change. Let's focus on, first of all, the initial severe weather potential, which is tomorrow night. So the Storm Prediction Center increasing that severe weather threat. This was from the day 2 convective outlook. And I don't see Jacob on here, but Jacob was talking a lot about, well, there he is right there, talking about what are your thoughts on the marginal risk being upgraded to a slight for our area. It's funny, Jacob, you always ask about increasing the threat, and there's always a potential for that. There's no doubt about that. Things definitely increase from, the day 3 to the day 2. The system is strong. I do think the surface-based instability is going to struggle to make it into northwest Arkansas, at least as of this point, but I'm not saying it's completely out of the realm. a possibility. There could be that surface-based instability. We know the wind shear is there, so we definitely have to watch for that tornado potential. Speaking of that, if we look at all the threats on the table, you can see the highest threat for our area, which is still in the lower category. But remember, low doesn't mean zero. That's why we call it a non-zero tornado threat. This is in the River Valley, Logan County, as well as Scott County, southeastern LaFleur County. And it's still very low, but not zero over northwest Arkansas. So we're going to look at the future track radar here in just a bit. But you're going to notice large hail and damaging winds possible too. So we'll be watching all of that. If we take a look here, storm system number 1, the same one that came through on Tuesday that brought that little bit of wraparound. And, it was interesting with that wraparound because the dry air really came in. The band was very impressive in northeast Oklahoma. And by the time it made its way into northwest Arkansas,
fizzled out.
Dried air, dried the air out, fizzled out. We still saw some snow. But temperatures were always going to be borderline freezing. They were a little colder than what we had with Friday's snow because it did stick around. In fact, a little bit of snow that we did get was still on my car this morning. So it's still out there.
Last Friday was a fluke and a half.
Friday was a crazy system, really was. And flukes can happen. So let's talk about the wraparound with this storm. There it is. There's the big low pressure system. You can actually see it on water vapor. It's a very impressive low that's dropping almost straight down the west coast of the United States. Now, I know you have questions about travel concerns on Sunday. We're going to get to that here too. But this system that drops in is developing. It is just now in its beginning stages of developing. So there still is a lot of uncertainty as to where that severe weather potential will develop, as not only that, but where the wraparound snow will be, how strong that wraparound will be. Let's look at the future track. This is the high resolution rapid refresh. And you're going to see as that moisture interacts with that energy that comes in from the west, you got thunderstorms that are absolutely erupting. So I think the rain chances are pretty likely. And this isn't the end of it. This is the beginning stages of this system. This is where surface-based storms could develop by late Thursday night. Notice that Thursday afternoon, absolutely fine. Nothing wrong. A little bit on the breezy side, but there's that system rolling in. Now, it looks like you're done, right? Not necessarily, because this is when we get the eruption of thunderstorms with that second wave of energy. And there you see it right there, moving in at about 1 o'clock in the morning. These storms right here could be surface-based. These could be elevated in northwest Arkansas that will have the potential to produce some hail as well as some gusty winds. But I do think, as you'll see, this storm system really evolves as it makes its way east. So we're right on the fringe of this storm going through. But anyways, there's the thunderstorm possibilities that move through. And then there you see the snow on the back edge. Now, the European, the GFS, the NAM, they all show that wraparound to some extent. What they do have problems with is how fast the temperature is going to drop on Friday morning, because this model is showing by 7 o'clock in the morning, we already have a changeover from rain to maybe a little bit of a window of sleet. I can't discount that with such a dramatic drop in temperatures, and then some snow that happens. Now, remember, the models were showing this as well, and it didn't pan out to be as much snow. We still got some, but that could be a lot less with that dry air moving, and it's just wraparound snow. That's not a setup for a heavy snow event unless we get those heavy snow bursts. Now, the thing is on Tuesday, we didn't have that. There wasn't a heavy snow burst. But if we had that the similar way we did on Friday, then the roads would have been a lot worse, because it would have started accumulating on the roads, and then it would have been a bad situation on Tuesday. But we didn't get that because the precipitation wasn't heavy enough. And so there you go. So Friday morning's commute is going to be interesting because it all depends on when that temperature drops below freezing, which I think is going to happen pretty quick. I'm going to show you a different model here. This is the future track from what we call the graph model. And sometimes it's a little underdone and sometimes it's overdone. And so let me show you as we take this off right here. These are the thunderstorms that pop up. See how that energy moves to the east, and then it really doesn't develop a whole lot until early morning hours on Friday. I think rain is going to be pretty widespread Thursday night to Friday, Zach.
Yeah, think that might be a little bit too warm there.
I know that's the thing we're looking at,
You
and
see 50.
see, and this is
in
our
the spot.
forecast right here. This is not the other graph. This is the graph this is called ICAST data.
I'm gonna
So
have to knock that down.
I think we're going to have to trend those down because I think this front that's coming in is stout. It's got a very strong temperature drop.
I think the Friday morning commute has the potential to be really dangerous.
Yeah, it sure does. Now let's look at this here. This is so this is the future track with the same radar data, same information, but it doesn't have the adjusted temperatures like we have. So let's see what that shows. Well, that's even worse.
Oh, that's terrible.
That shows 49. So if this is the case, and that cold air doesn't come in as fast as the HRRR shows, then number one, our low is going to be in trouble. Our low
Yeah.
temperature forecast is going to be in trouble. But we have that way adjusted down. Now look at that. That's still, and this shows the front coming in around 7, 8 o'clock. That's still not out of the question. That's still a possibility that could happen, Zach.
Yeah, if that
And
happens,
Peyton and Josh.
I know that the long range models are usually bad for the cold air arrival time, usually a little bit too slow.
Yeah.
What about the short range models? I think they're just as bad.
I think the graph is sometimes a little too fast, and then sometimes it's a little underdone on the speed of the system and the strength of the cold air. See, this is Arctic air, and Arctic air is just strong. It's like a runaway freight train. It just doesn't stop if it's deep enough to get over the Ozarks. So to answer the question here, I think that's a little underdone. And then that only shows temperatures dropping below freezing by noon. So if this was the case, the morning commute would just be wet. Now, let me show you the difference between that and you saw the HRRR model, the high resolution rapid refresh. What you didn't see with that is the temperatures. So let's look at the dramatic difference that we have our work cut out for us to try to figure out exactly how this is going to pan out. But you're going to see right here, as we look at Thursday night, there's the thunderstorms. We're still in the 50s. Now, to 42, already below freezing in Anderson. Now, that is way earlier than the other model. And remember, this is high resolution model data. And then here is 5 a.m. We're talking already at freezing in Bentonville, 33 in Stillwell, 29 in Tahlequah, 36 in Fayetteville. And then the next hour, we're already below freezing.
That would be a flash freeze.
Now, this will be a flash freeze if this happens. So this will be pretty rough for the morning commute if this comes to fruition. And then you can see the roads will be wet. That has so much wraparound. I just think sometimes that's a little overdone. But it is a strong system, and it's not out of the realm of possibility. And the storm system is just developing. So there's a lot of stuff, Brian, that's on the table here. We've got severe weather potential tomorrow night. Then we have a flash freeze potential for Friday morning, along with wraparound snow, winds up to 40 miles an hour, wind chills in the teens. That's all Friday after severe weather potential early Friday morning. And then we get cold. And then we haven't even talked about the snowstorm that's potentially coming for Sunday into Monday. So that's why we got the whole crew here. Josh interning and Peyton and Zach. Now that the holidays are over, we've got a lot more bodies in the studio. We're all back on the regular schedules. I know. Hallelujah. Peyton and Zach are saying that along with Josh. So I know it's definitely good.
What's the NAM 3K doing?
Hey, how about Elena? How you doing? Good to see you. And hope everything's going well with taking care of the baby. Glad you get to stay home for now. That's the best news right there. Just hunker down, stay home, and you'll be good to go. But so what's the NAM saying? That is a good question. Let's check it out. So the NAM 3 kilometer barely has any storms at all Thursday night, like absolutely nothing, which I don't believe. That energy is just way too strong. It's got it all to the southeast, and then it doesn't develop anything. And then this shows at 7 a.m.
There's the cold air.
There's the cold air coming in. So 7 a.m. we're still above freezing, but we have snow coming down and then a rapid drop in temperatures all the way down into the upper 20s. Man. So then you can see that continuing That doesn't have as much wraparound. That looks probably more realistic with the speed of this system coming through. That I don't think that's going to
the
produce as much.
temperatures look realistic.
I think the NAM has the best handle on Arctic air, so
Yeah,
I
especially
think
the shallow cold air mass.
I think that's definitely going to come through. It's deep enough where it does get over the Ozarks because we saw 2,800 feet.
I think so.
Yeah, 2,800 feet was the depth of the cold air. So that's that. As far as snow accumulation is concerned, this is what the different models are showing. We haven't made an accumulation map yet just because there's so much uncertainty. I mean, if I was to say something, it would be around a dusting in some spots in the river valley to probably as much as an inch, inch and a half. 2 inches is just, unless it drops and the wraparound lasts a lot longer. But there's the graph showing half inch to an inch. I think that's pretty decent there. Shows the higher terrain of the river valley getting that snow. You can see that right here, Mount Magazine and Ouachitas. We look at the European, 1.5, 2.5 inches. It was a little overdone on Tuesday, so a lot of that stuff is going to melt initially because it's not just going to all of a sudden accumulate on the roads, in my opinion. The GFS 1.5 inches, and then the NAM doesn't have anything. So that's off, I think. That's not quite right. So interesting enough, I thought the FB3 did the best handling last Friday's over performance. Josh, I didn't see that, but did you guys look at the FB3? There's so many models to look at.
I'm sure I glanced at it briefly.
Any chance of an ice storm on Friday? Ice is from freezing rain. There could be a little bit of freezing rain mixing with sleet, but then it changes over to snow. But in terms of ice falling from the sky, it would be ice on the ground that just freezes over, if that makes sense. So yes, we could have ice on the roads. That doesn't necessarily mean on the power lines and stuff like that. That causes power lines to come down and for them to get weighed over. It's not the same thing as an ice storm, but ice is going to be possible with that dramatic drop in temperatures.
Oh, yeah.
So we know the temperature drop is occurring. We just don't know exactly when that drop is going to occur.
Melanie has a really good question there.
Yeah? Let's get to it.
Below.
What's the ideal time to salt the driveway? So tonight, you don't have to worry about that. Tomorrow will be dry, and then tomorrow night we have thunderstorms, so that would wash it all away. So the best time to get out there would be after the rain and thunderstorms on Friday early morning. So when you wake up in the morning before that cold front comes in, that's the best time to ice the driveway.
Friday, 2 a.m.
I still think there might be some rain in the area at 2 a.m., but maybe like when you wake up.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to instantly freeze. So,
right.
Will the winds dry the roads Friday before any flash freezing? That's always a possibility.
It'll be at night, though.
Yeah,
So
the temperature drop is going to occur, but he's asking about the winds because the winds are going to be strong. But when the storm system moves overhead, there's going to be a lull in the winds, kind of like what we saw with the break in the wind on, on Tuesday when it was snowing. It was windy, but then it kind of died off as the low went right overhead, and then it started to pick up again. Okay, let's talk about Little Rock travel on Tuesday. That's a good point because we only have a limited time here. But just wanted to show you the 2-day timing, and then we'll get into the weekend. But there's a look at 57 to 60 degrees for those temperatures tomorrow. Beautiful day tomorrow. However, there's that big temperature drop. We have it dropping below freezing by about 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. Now, keep in mind, Northwest Arkansas will have varying times that temperature drops below freezing, and it's tough to determine that quite yet. So, I don't know, Nikita, on if kids will have school on Friday. They'll probably go out there. They'll look. There won't be anything. I just don't know how. We don't know. We don't know about school closings. It's tough to figure that out, and it's tough to, it all depends on chain reactions on what the weather does. But this is what we've got here: 80% chance of storms for Thursday night into early Friday morning. That's the severe weather potential. That's the thunderstorm activity. And then it starts to drop off as we head into our Friday afternoon as that system moves out. Okay, now obviously the cold is coming. We know that. Everybody knows that. Here's a look at the polar blast that's coming. You can see that energy swinging in. Now, there's the cold air that's in place for Sunday. And this is going to be in place for Saturday and Sunday and Monday and Tuesday. And then finally, it tries to moderate that, but you can see that polar blast coming back in by the end of the weekend. We get like another spoke of energy swinging in, and that could bring more frigid air. So I want to show you something here with the vorticity. This is going to be a great example of all these little pieces of energy and all these spins. Wow. Look at the system on the West Coast. You see that? Zach, Peyton, and Josh? That is really strong. We've got blue shades and white. That's already as strong as it gets, but it's still kind of off the coast. And then it swings through. So if we do see the wraparound, I don't see it lasting very long, to be honest with you. There's so much energy swinging in. This will bring severe weather and surprises with the weather.
On the backside, there's going to be a lot of subsidence. So
very, strong subsidence. Sinking air is subsidence. It's on the back edge of the vorticity, which is this right here. Now, we got that other system that's coming in for the end of the weekend. So there's a system moving out. Here comes the system for the weekend. You can see it diving in right here in San Francisco. They might be saying, well, that doesn't look very strong. Well, it's a short wave, and there's plenty of cold air that's in place. This is expected to create a lot of lift. Now, where exactly that lift takes place, it's a little uncertain, but it does look like the bullseye could be right over Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. So we have the chance for highest snow totals, and then the system shifts out. Then some cold air wraps around. Then there could be another piece of energy that comes in on Monday, providing lighter snow accumulation, but still the possibility that we see more. And then that system finally swings out. So how does that all translate to the future track? Well, here's what we've got. So we're going to take this step by step for people that have travel plans, because we know college starts Tuesday. And the weather is just not going to provide very friendly travel. So Saturday, if you have travel plans, Saturday, you're fine. No problems, except if you're coming from Colorado. And I can't stress this enough that I know there's football games, there's playoff games. I heard from some viewers on Facebook that their daughter wants to stay for the Texans game. Great idea, right? Yeah. What time is that game? Is it a later game? I just don't know. I haven't kept up with
3:30 Eastern, so 2:30 Central.
Is it
2:30 God's time?
Yeah. I just don't know. I haven't kept up with. I know who's playing. I know the Packers are playing, but I don't know all the times. He said it. So if you want to leave Sunday morning, that's okay, but you've got to get out early, because this is what happens. So we're going to step through this in time, and keep in mind this timing could always change, but we're already below freezing, and we'll continue to be below freezing. See how everything's nice and quiet on Sunday? So Sunday, you have several hours where you can travel. However, as you get into the afternoon, into the early evening, that's when we're going to be watching this, because watch what happens. It spreads out over the area by Sunday evening. So by this time, we are getting snow. And that snow looks like it could be pretty heavy. But keep in mind, this is still a ways out. Things can change. Things can shift. You'll notice, too, a lot of icing in the Dallas area. That's a mix. That's probably going to be a freezing rain event. Wouldn't doubt if there's an ice storm in that area in central Texas. So that starts materializing Sunday afternoon. So like I said, the earlier you can get out, the better, because this system's coming through Sunday in the afternoon into the early morning hours on Monday. And so there you see that energy swinging in.
Especially for students, because you don't want to come back and then get stuck in your apartment with nothing. You want to have as much time to prepare once you get back.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of students I know that they're like, oh, maybe Sunday, Monday, just to extend their break. But you're going to want to come back immediately, just because you want to get settled in. You don't want to get caught on the road, and you don't want to get into town and then not be able to go to the store and stuff.
Go anywhere. Yeah, because this could be several inches of snow. So there's the European, and then finally that system starts to swing out. Now look, that's all the way through Monday early morning, and then we continue to see that energy swinging in throughout even possibly early Tuesday morning. It's not out of the question that a little piece of energy could provide just a little additional accumulation. Zach, you were going to say something, or?
No, I agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
looks like it. There's a lot of energy. You saw the vorticity.
Now, here's the global model for the GFS. So we looked at the European. This is the GFS. We can't look at the dam. It doesn't go out far enough for Sunday. We can't look at the HRRR. It doesn't go out far enough. We can look at the Canadian, but it doesn't really show up on here very well. So anyways, here's a look at the GFS. We can see that energy moving in. And remember, this showed snow by Sunday morning, but now it's kind of backing off and slowing it down a little bit. But still, it's a little faster with the system. So there is a little uncertainty what time this system will develop Sunday. So that's why if you can get out in the early morning hours, you'll be okay. But the later you wait, the more treacherous the drive is going to be. And remember, this is all snow. This falls as snow. It starts sticking immediately. The temperatures are going to be dropping dramatically. It's super cold at this point, all below freezing. There's no way that none of that's going to not stick. And on top of that, snow totals could be more just because it's so cold while it's snowing at about 10, 15 degrees. Mm-hmm. That could lead to some high snowfall ratios, meaning snow to liquid equivalents. So there's a look at, it's got a little piece of energy swinging in, but it doesn't have as much, and it kicks that system out pretty quick. So the accumulation is, I mean, it is definitely there. If we look at, you know, you could see, I just still don't want to show totals just because it's too far out. But we are talking about several inches of snow, the potential for significant snows. So go to church on Sunday, commence hibernating for lunch. Lunch probably won't be bad, but it's in the evening that starts to go downhill. All right, let's go to some questions here. Nick says, I'm driving from Memphis to Oklahoma City Sunday, and I don't want to be on the highway in bad road conditions. When should I plan on being there so I can figure out when to leave? So I would leave as early as you can. That's a little bit of a drive. That would be, let's see, that'd be about 5 hours, wouldn't it? 6 hours? No, wait. How far is it from, okay, so from here to Memphis is about 3.5, 4 hours.
Probably like
Yeah.
8. Yeah.
It's about an 8-hour drive to Oklahoma City because it's 4 hours. It's 3 hours from Fort Smith. We know that. Mm-hmm. So 3 hours, yeah, it's about 6, 7 hour drive. Yeah. I would
probably leave 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
It's about what time I'm gonna leave from Houston area.
And keep in mind that timing could speed up, so be aware of that. All right. Info for all kids driving from Texas Thursday over the weekend. Yep. Okay, good. And all those people, we just provided all that stuff. We talked about the winds. Any severe weather for Bentonville on Friday. If it would be Friday, it would be in the early morning hours. So basically when you go to bed tomorrow night, not Friday morning when you wake up. We do weather alert days, but we only do them when we are absolutely positive that it is going to be bad. Because we've done alert days and it seems like we're crying wolf and it ends up fizzling out. And I think that with this temperature drop and the precipitation happening, probably by tomorrow we'll have an alert day on for Friday. And if it's keep looking like it, Sunday into Monday too. These are all highly impactful weather days. So what you're saying is that I'm working from home on Friday. It's the best idea for sure. Buster, we looked at the snow ratios. It's about 20 to 1, even 25 to 1 potentially. Yeah, you could turn on the lights. Yeah, Annie, because we have such a dramatic temperature drop that we could see some bad road conditions. Seligman. Brittany Robinson, a shout out. Hey to Brittany, that's awesome. Wow, she just gave birth to your daughter. That's awesome. Chad, cool. Big shout out to Brittany, and hunker down as this cold comes in. I think a couple inches are possible in Southwest Missouri and Seligman. You're a little bit farther north, so you'll get more wraparound. It depends on how much French toast you want to make, because that's what bread and milk goes with. We
I just bought some milk.
That. You did?
So I'm all set.
All right.
Make a milk sandwich.
I didn't buy any bread though, so.
Oh, man. Likely tomorrow or Saturday. Don't know what's likely tomorrow. Tomorrow is nothing until tomorrow night. Dan, I hope the Packers win, and I hope they win big. I would love to see Dallas hopes gets crushed and lose in the first round of the playoffs.
I
So,
agree as a Birds fan.
but here's the deal. I know there's some
Best
Cowboys
way to say it.
fans, and look at the numbers drop right now as I said that. That stinking polar plunge moves south. They said the weather's fine. It's like Carroll Electric, part of the bucket truck brigade. So I don't think there's going to be. I hope not a lot of power outages, but the snow could get pretty heavy. But it will be a light
It'll
fluffy
be a light
snow.
Mhm.
snow. Something will
But it
weigh
still
down
could
stuff
pile
between.
up though
Yes.
if we get enough. So got myself a sled at Ace Hardware. Cool. I bet you they have sleds. Nelson's a great place to have sleds. The winds are going to be pretty intense. Boy, if we ever get a blizzard warning, it would be the first ever. 6.5 hour toll roads, 7 without tolls. There you go. Good idea on that. So sorry I'm late. Would Saturday be okay? Yes, Saturday is a great day to drive in. Sunday, not the best day. Baja Blasts. I'm thinking 5 Baja Blasts. Ice cream sub-gallon. Yeah, that's right. Okay, guys. Hey, we got caught up. It won't be like last January's snow. Last January 24th was a very, very heavy one. I'll tell you what, we'll get some new information coming out, and we'll do another quick Facebook Live tonight after the 10 o'clock news. All right, I got to run because we got a 9 o'clock show starting, lickety split. So we'll see you guys later. Have a good one. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys.